Hello there, welcome again to Eye Opener with Rudy Organics. I'm your host, Emmanuel. So in this episode, I'll try to see I can bring life to us, Africa, so that we become natural wise and Africa wise. Straight to the point, today we're going to talk about diet and genetics. So in this talk show, we're going to see how diet affects our genes, and I'm going to quote some examples which can help you see how your diet affect your genes. As the popular saying goes, you are what you eat. Of course, because what you eat has a way of affecting how you grow, it has a way of affecting your hormones, it has a way of affecting how you feel, how you think, the kind of life that you live, and your kind of personality. And this shows us that food has a way of influencing us. The reason is because food is just chemicals, and we are all chemicals. All these changes, whether you're angry or sad, happy or joyful, all are chemical reactions taking place in your body. So it is without doubt that biologically you are what you eat. Now our main focus today is to see the difference between African food and synthetic food, what we may call European food, and also to look how they affect our lives. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because there is a lot of shift from African natural food by Africans to consuming European food. The first example that I want us to see is when it comes to growth. A 10-year-old in America is way older, way bigger, way more mature physically than a 10-year-old in Africa. You can see for yourself, of course. And the reason why they're older than Africans of the same age is because of what they eat. It isn't because they're living in a different planet or in a different climate zone or maybe a different continent. It's just because of what they eat. And how do I know that it is because of what they eat? I'll tell you that later. Alright, so you see that what you eat really makes you, okay? It makes you, and so you should be mindful of what you eat. In fact, research has proven that 90% of illnesses that many people suffer now, it is from what they eat or what they drink. Now I want to talk about the African food. African food is 100% coming from natural sources, from our leaves, from our vegetables, and from our root vegetables. These are the things which we use to prepare our food, and even from trees. And now all of these are in one way or the other medicinal. They help to build our immune system, they help to cleanse our system as a whole, they help in building our brain, and they also help in maintaining our body shape. And in that way, they help to cure us and make us immune to many illnesses. While on the other hand, the European food, which we may call junk food, is just the reverse of it. And that is why the Europeans are very plumpy, because their food doesn't care about their body. It makes them to age faster, makes them to grow, to put on weight, and it has a lot of effect on their moods and on their hormonal balance. And it does not in any way treat them of any illness. Now the issue here is Africa, with all its intellectual nourishment, they have decided, as per the generation that we are now, to feed more on this imported food. They see themselves eating African food as being native and primitive, but eating European junk food as being civilized. How is that? So you see somebody go to a restaurant and African food is served and be like, no, I cannot eat that. I want to take shawarma, I want to take hamburger, I want to lick ice cream. And all of these foods, when taken especially in excess, they have a way of toxicating your system, making you vulnerable to illnesses. You can agree with me that the ratio of illnesses in Europe was far more than it was in Africa. In fact, there are some illnesses that we never knew before. These illnesses have now crept in our country, not because the Europeans suffering from these illnesses came in, it is just because they shipped their food, which is the main cause and harbor of these illnesses. They shipped them to Africa, and now we are consuming them. All the junk foods, we are consuming them. Now an African child of this generation grows and ages faster than an African child 20 years ago. You see an African child of 10 years looking like a European child of 10 years. because they are now living on fertilizer food, genetic engineered food. And this food, like I said, they have a way of changing our genes. They have a way of, transforming our genes. That is one part that you don't know. And now, how does this genetic change really affect Africans? You realize that, number one, it affects your growth hormones. You are aging way faster than before. That is genetic. Age is genetic. In those days, an African can stay for 70 years, mother or father, still looking young. But now, before the age of 30, 40, you start seeing fallen cheeks, darkened eyes, and so on. And that is because of the food that they eat. It is affecting their genes. What about hormonal imbalance? You notice that menopause is now reachable quicker than before for our women. They strike menopause so early. At the age of 30, a woman has entered menopause. Meanwhile, before menopause, even an African woman of 50, 60 years could still give birth. And concerning the feminine gender, about their intimacy, you realize that the urge for intimacy in the feminine gender of Africans is gradually reducing by the day. You see a girl of 30 years does not have appetite, does not feel intimately aroused. All right, at the age of 35, they find no pleasure in intimacy anymore. Why? That is because of the food that they have been consuming. Partly because of the food. There is another episode that I'm going to talk of another thing, and so you realize that food has a way of affecting us. My greatest problem now is, why is it that we are not living on a natural diet as Africans? Why are we throwing our precious diet as garbage and going after toxins and going after real toxins? I'm going to leave it here for now. On the next episode, we are going to get a little further on unveiling what I may call the agenda for the replacement of African natural diet with imported synthetic diet. Hope this episode helped you. Like it, comment on it, share, and have a rethink about your beloved African diet. Thank you. I love you. See you in our next episode. Bye-bye.